We're in the muck piece. So we've got a radiator sitting over there in the box, and this one's getting ready to go bye-bye. So yeah, I don't know how much you want to watch me pull this out, but we'll get it going on, and it'll come out of here. And once we get it out, I can start figuring out the new radiator. So let's see what's up. All right, it's all out of there. It didn't take very long. It took a 1/2 wrench, a 1/2 socket, a 5/8, a 9/16, a flat tip, and I think that's it. So the 5/16 was the nut driver, if you've seen that sitting there. But yeah, that wasn't bad at all. A little sketchy getting it out. I got a really nice framework on this car to install an aluminum radiator. I'm hoping that when we set this dude down in here, I can end up drilling and bolting here and setting that dude right in there, same angle, whole 9 yards. Let me clean up a few things and we'll see. All right, so I gave up last night and got my engine compartment all blacked out, but a couple little spots that I see, and I'm like, oh, I need to shoot that a little bit more. Because that was kind of always my plan, was just to black it out, even though it's, you know, the car is white. Showing you'd see body color on down in there, but, you know, I just soon black it out. I'd like to black out underneath the hood too, but first I gotta get this crap off. But so we're here today for a radiator. So here's my plan. I'm going to take my floor jack and jack it up to where it is right about here, because that radiator is going to set on the outside of this, right? So I'm going to set that up even where it's touching that, set the radiator on it so that'll hold it, so I can set it in here, see how it all fits, and what I have to trim, change, or work on. So I will put you guys on fast watch for all of that until I come up to something that I got to do some working on, and then I will pause you out and explain to you what I'm doing. So anyway, here we go, just for the record. So I'm wearing Aquaman because I'm working on the cooling system, which has water in it. Makes sense to you? Makes sense to me. So I knew this was going to require some work, but I wasn't exactly sure how much. So if I measure up from the bottom, I got about 10.5 inches. I need to measure the other side to make sure and see exactly what I have. But so my width wise, and actually, I wonder if I could just notch out that frame. What am I up from there? 3.5 to 10.5. Because then I would have some bracket on the bottom, bracket on top. That's my whole height here. Only two? What's it, two? All right, now let me look at the radiator. All right, my radiator, see I got a line here. So my radiator is not as tall as my old one, so that means I can raise it up a little bit and bring it down a little bit and kind of center it in that hole. I'm gonna have to cut this here and take this piece off. This should fit in the middle of my framework. Okay, I'll drill another hole here. That'll give me 2 bolts on this side, holding it in. And then on this side, I don't know if you can see, I got a little mark right here. That's how high it should come up that I would need to take off. But it's going to go below the frame. I'm going to have this little tab. So I'm going to go ahead and drill another hole in this, maybe 2. And then this one ought to be enough. I mean, just give me some space. I got to cut this tab off, leave this piece here. I'll drill a hole in it, and that'll be 5 mount bolts. And that should hold it. I mean, it's a real light aluminum radiator, so it shouldn't take that much. And then after I get those cut off, I will have to set it in there, mark where my holes are, and drill out my bracket. So anyway, so yeah. So after I get those cut off, I'll fit it in here. I'll drill this guy out to mount my radiator. So that's my plan. See how I get. So she's arguing with me. I'm debating on what to do. One, I should probably grab my mic. I don't know how well you can hear me, but grab my mic. Mike! Okay. Anyway, all right. So, debating on what to do here. So the notching it the way I wanted to didn't work the way I wanted it to. So, I sense, yeah, I mean, you should have seen it on, it might have been hard to tell, but I straightened the brackets hoping that I could just kind of hug both sides of this metal bracket and then drill and bolt. That's kind of arguing with me too. So now I'm debating on whether I should make an extra bracket to like bolt on here that the radiator bolts onto, or if I should crawl underneath here and see if I can figure out why it doesn't want to pull up any more flush than it does, and see if I can get something out of the way and make it all work. So yeah, it's turned into a fun little project that I will get there. I will get there. It might not be today, but I'm going to get there. I will drive this car this week. Anyway, all right. So with that said, let me do some figuring and some looking, and I'll get back with you. So a 67 through 69 Camaro radiator into an Avanti 2. So far, radiator 1, Avanti 0. But we will win. I'm not worried that we're down to start with. We will win. So anyway, all right. Yeah. Time to do some looking. Thanks. I like how I said thanks, because, you know, like you're cheering me on or something, and everybody's waiting on me to fail. fail miserably. All right, so I straightened these guys all the way out, which I think I already had in the last little video section. Trimmed this guy off so it would slide further up to that metal where I need it, so it will fit kind of fairly flush to that metal. This side, I had to straighten this dude out. After I've been a 90 here, I had to straighten that dude out. Then it had a 90 here. I had to straighten that dude out, and then I had to make a 90 here, and then trim this off so it's going to fit down close to my metal. And then I made another 90 little bracket. It is right here, little steel bracket, and that is where the one plate's going to mount. When I get it set in here, I'll drill holes in it, mount my 2 bolts there. Then, hopefully, I can get a bolt hole to line up for this factory bolt hole right here. Okay, and that's where the other top mount will go. And then I'll put one down there that I'll have to drill out. And I get all that done, and then it should be sitting there pretty good. This has been a lot more difficult than I thought. So, you know, I was trying to find a radiator that would fit a little bit easier. And, you know, there is a guy that has Avanti radiators, but he wants like $700 for them. And I'm like, no, I can't do that. So this was a $150 radiator with the fan and the shroud off eBay. So hopefully I haven't hurt it, beating on it, and working with it. But we'll find out when we fill it up. But it's been more work than I figured it would be. But part of that is because I had a lot of trouble finding like actual full dimensions of the radiator. And all it would say is 26 inches. And I'm like, is that the brackets or is that the tanks? Because if it was the brackets, I was golden. It was the tanks. So that made a lot more work. But anyway, nothing I couldn't conquer, I don't think. But I'm getting there. I think we're about to get somewhere. And I'll set you guys up and we'll drop this dude in. I would have had you running the whole time to see the hammering and the beating and the banging and the clamping that I did in order to do those brackets. Maybe I should have, but I needed music. This not going like I was wanting it to was just stressing me out just a little bit, and I was like, I need some music. So anyway, all right, we are going to get the radiator, shove it in there, and hopefully get some bolts in. fired up. I haven't tested it yet, but as soon as the key comes on, I'll know. I can make sure I got my direction right, so it's pulling air back this way. I've got it. I filled it up with water, checked it for leaks, then I drained off a gallon of water because not a lot will come from the block because I didn't start it, and added a gallon of antifreeze, and that should give me about a 50-50, and because the block already had 50-50 in it, so that should be good. And I put new battery connectors on it. Everything's mounted. My transmission hoses are mounted. I got to check those for leaks. So basically I need to fire it up, let it warm up, and make sure there's no leaks for radiator and transmission. And after it gets warm, I need to check my tranny fluid, make sure I didn't lose much there. And sometime or another, I need to get a battery hold down, because now that that big radiator and shroud's out of the way, my battery could actually slide out. So I'm going to do something about that. But anyway, let's see if we can get her to fire up. She hasn't been started for a few days, so she might not like it. Fan working well. You need a visual. I'm going to use a little piece here so maybe I don't get caught in the belt. Woo! Woo! Yeah, baby. Where's my flashlight at? So far, I'm not seeing anything leaking. Hoses look good. I went and got a new upper hose so I can do away with that fill tee. Yeah, not too shabby. Looks pretty decent in there. If this side was any higher, I could get the radiator cap off. I shortened up my overflow hose, backed out my engine compartment, cleaned off my air cleaner. So, yeah, she just needs to run here and get warm now. So, we'll be back. Well, no leaks. Done well. She's pretty well up to where her thermostat should be open, and that's it. So, yeah, I think we're doing well. She just needs to test drove some now and make sure everything's good. She took just a little bit of transmission fluid, so that's all good. It's raining out. Don't feel like test driving right now. And I'm hungry, so I'm not going to. But I'll do it. I will. And if there's an issue, I will make sure you guys know what it is and how I fixed it and all that good stuff. But one thing some people might have noticed was I didn't put my fan on a thermostatic switch. Some people like to do that. I've had a lot of classic cars, and whenever I go to an electric fan, man, I just put that dude all in. Because most of the time, you're not driving a crap ton when it's cold as ice outside. You know, I might drive this one a little more in the winter than I have some others, but it's going to be nice winter days. You know, but yeah, so man, it's just really easy to wire that relay to key on, fan comes off, key off, fan goes off. It's just the best way. Some people might disagree, but in my experience with the cars that I've dealt with, If you want to go to an electric fan on an old car, just go all in. All in. Let that dude run. That fan does not care if it runs freaking every time you drive that car. That car will not care that that fan is running all the time. And, you know, you have less apt of anything going wrong. So, yeah, all in. But anyway, so far the aluminum radiator appears to be a good deal. So we'll see what happens. Redneck Muck out.